Luxury real estate world rocked by rape allegations against star broker. Now, this story isn't written by Daily Mail. This story is not written by some hocus pocus website. This is written by Wall Street Journal. 5 women have accused Oren Alexander, co-founder of luxury real estate brokerage official, of sexual assault or rape, with incidents spanning from high school 20 years ago to as recently as 2020. One woman, an aspiring model, described an incident in 2017 where Alexander allegedly ripped her dress off and threw her on the bed, pinning her down and raped her despite her begging him to stop. Oren has taken a leave from his firm, calling the allegations baseless civil accusations and stating he is confident that the truth will be brought to light. 2 lawsuits filed in March accuse Oren and his twin brother, Alon, of sexual assaults dating back to 2010 and 2012. In one case, Rebecca Mandel alleges that after being invited to a non-existent party, Oren and Alon assaulted her, with Alon holding her down while Oren penetrated her. Another woman, Kate Whiteman, alleges she was raped by the twins at Sir Ivan Castles in the Hamptons after being forced into a black SUV and driven to the location. Adam, these guys are from Miami. What do you know about the story? Because I'm going to give my version of it away in a minute, my story. But what do you know about these guys?
So, full disclosure, I know these guys. I know their whole family. They grew up in Miami. I'm not friends with them. I don't have their phone numbers. Have I been in the same room as them? Tons of times. This is the biggest story in real estate by far. And this story has sort of been trickling out over the last week or so, right, PBD? First, I saw it in The Real Deal, which is a specific real estate publication. I saw it on Instagram, and then all of a sudden people, oh, hey, bro, like, what's going on? Like, we run in similar circles, you know. Started messaging me, oh, shit, oh, this is not good. 3 women, 5 women, oh, man. Then it went to 10 women. Then it went to the latest count, 30 different allegations. And I'm using that word specifically, allegations, because we don't know what is true and what is not true. And if we learned from other friends that we've spoken to, interview people that we've spoken to, we don't ever know what's true and what's not true in these allegations. But then it was in the New York Post. And then as of yesterday, I believe, it was in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. And then I was like, this is now officially a massive story. So here's what I could tell you. There's a few different things here. Most of the stories that you're hearing go back to 2010 to 2012, and a lot of them are in New York, specifically in the Hamptons. Why New York and the Hamptons, even though they're from Miami? They left Miami, they started working in real estate in New York. By the way, in the past 10 years, I think 5 out of the last 10 years, they're the number 1 real estate team in the country. They were part of Douglas Elliman. I think they've sold $7 billion of real estate over the last 10 years, I say. Correct me on these numbers. You know, real estate, you talk about commissions, we have that conversation. If you take 1%, which is a low commission for $7 billion, that is $70 million in commissions. So imagine if they got 2%, whatever. They've made tens of millions of dollars in commissions, no doubt. New York, specifically New York, Kathy Hochul, the governor, in 2022, she came out with something called the Adult Survivors Act, where basically it has to do with the statute of limitations, because this is 10, 15 plus years ago that they allegedly did some of these stories. So here's what I can tell you for sure. They have marketed themselves as the most high-end luxury, top realtors, high-end in the country. By the way, they have the record for the most expensive home ever sold. They sold it to Ken Griffin, the hedge fund guy we've talked about in New York, I think for $225 million. Check those numbers, Ken Griffin in New York. This is insane. But then during COVID, there it was, 238. There it was right there. It was the most expensive home ever sold in the United States. 4-floor mega condo. So to talk about these guys are with the who's who and the elite and the billionaires would be entirely accurate. So this isn't some just, random allegation. This is even like a Tate situation that's in Romania. This is the high-end people in New York, the Hamptons, and Aspen. So what's my point? on one end, is this a hit job? Is this a money grab? You know, after a handful of names, okay, maybe 30. How serious is all this? And then it makes me think of, you know, choose your enemies wisely. Who are their enemies? Look, there's a lot of people out there in the real estate world that want to see these guys go down. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a competitive world out there. There's a lot of happy, jealous, spiteful, competitive realtors out there that are saying, all right, my turn now. Because one thing for sure, depending on what these allegations turn out to be, who's ever going to work with these guys again? They're now fighting for their lives. Forget about their career. Forget about their reputation, like their lives. Last point. I've never been to the Hamptons. I've actually never spent time in the Hamptons, despite going to New York a ton of times. There's this guy called Sir Ivan. Remember that name. He's known as the Hugh Hefner of the Hamptons. There it is right there. Now, he would throw these wild sex parties and orgies and romps and be very open about it. There's the Hamptons Castle. You've heard about it, Tom? You ever been?
No, I've never been, but I've heard about Sir Ivan's Castle.
So
he's a member.
Apparently, the guys had...
Tom, just tell us.
Tom, you've been to the castle. Like,
Tom, you saw how he got happy? He was like,
all
whoa,
right, I have the gold key.
It's like this Game of Thrones-esque Playboy mansion in the Hamptons. And allegedly, the boys had their own room here.
Oh,
so...
damn.
When you talk about partying, we talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll, this is what's going down in the Hamptons. So this guy, Ivan, you know, retroactively has now come out and said, the Alexander brothers are no longer invited to the parties. Yeah, no shit, guy. Just cover your own ass. What I'll say is this. Let the facts play out. Let's see what happens here. These are serious allegations. And the number one guys in real estate are really in some hot water here, and we'll see what happens. Go ahead, PPD.
This is just the latest chapter of people in power with influence behaving terribly badly, and now it all shows up. That through the 80s and 90s and the aughts, you know, it was drug, sex, and rock and roll, and there was very little consequence. And yeah, you know, Governor Hochul passes this bill that caused some people to run to the microphone with salacious fake stories, claiming suits, looking for money, chasing money, and other people that said, wow, you know, I'm going to come forward here because I was injured. I was injured by all this. Les Moonves, all those people came forward. You look at Harvey Weinstein, you know, he wasn't found innocent. There was they have to retry the case, and there's plenty of evidence there, and he's still guilty in LA. But this is people of power behaving badly, and now it's coming home to roost.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you get one rape allegation, you know, you take it seriously. The state and whoever's, Rob, my audio is super low right now for whatever reason, just lowered in the last 10 minutes. You have to take it seriously if it's one. But at the same time, you know, you can jump to conclusion and then you realize this one person says, rape is not what you think it is. It's not physical. It's a fantasy. You know? That sounds good. And E. Jean Carroll, or whatever her name is, right? It says something like that. Then you get 2 rape allegations. All right, man, come on, man. Somebody comes and tells me, Vinny, you know, Vinny hit me, one of your exes. Okay, and you've had 10 exes, let's just say, okay? And I'm like, listen, stop it. Then second ex, and third ex, and fourth ex. If all of a sudden 7 exes tell me you're hitting them, Vinny, you're probably hitting them, okay? There's some kind of credibility there. If you had 10 businesses you start, if half of them file bankruptcy, you know, there's a problem there. You got 30 allegations and people coming out. We didn't say anything. I read the story when it was 1. We kind of read it when it was 5. When it was 30, we're like, listen, this is out of control. 3 years ago, this was 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago. Tom, I think you even remember this. I was looking at this house. Rob, if you can pull up the one I sent you. This is a house I was looking at in Boca. Adam, did I even take you there or no?
I didn't go with you, but okay. I remember.
So I looked at this house. This is on Rob Report.
Like a mall. With the grass on the roof.
Yeah, we went and looked. It was a $25 million house in Boca. And pull up a little bit, Rob, so we can show. That's the house. No, like the picture. So that's the house. We probably looked at this house 6 times. 5-6 times, okay? Real nice place, corner, you know, intercoastal, Boca, the whole 9. Beautiful, nicely built. Guess who was the realtor? Oren Alexander. So he comes in and he has it on the market for, you know, 25. I make an offer for $17 million. Okay. He rebuttals with whatever number that he rebuttals with, you know, $24.5 million. Okay. Here's what I'll give you $24.5 million. Great. I come back and I said, I'm out. They call and they say, no, why is he out? I said, no, I'm out. I'm not playing this game. $500,000. This is not a $25 million house sitting on a third of a lot or whatever the size was.
Yeah.
Fast forward. I meet another person who's a realtor in Florida. Her name is Sonata. Sonata's actually been on the podcast
She's on the
before.
podcast in 2021.
They're part of the same company.
Yeah.
These guys were number one. I think Sonata's number 3 or number 5 in the country. Phenomenal what she does. She used to work for Trump for 5 years. VP of marketing or VP of something. She was a high rep.
I love her.
Yeah.
I know what she looks like.
If you see her, you know she's been on NBC. She's been all over the place.
Yeah.
So anyways, so she said, hey, maybe we work together to try to sell you this house. I said, I'm not going to go that high. The number I'm going to make, I'm not going to sell this house for that much. I said, maybe I'll go to a number. We're having lunch at Luff's. Okay, you're with me at Luff's.
Yeah.
And it's me, you, Mario, and one other person. I don't remember who the other person was. I walk out, I come out, and I said, look, if they go to this number, I'll do it. Anyways, eventually they play a little bit more games. I'm out again, but this time I'm permanently out. We go to a event in Florida for cards. Don't want to say the name.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
In
I invited
Miami.
you. We went
Miami,
together,
yeah.
you and I. Beautiful home. Everybody's there. It's a small invitation. 10 people are in the room. They're selling $5 million comic books, stuff like that. It's not a low-end
Baseball
type of,
cards, jerseys.
Like very, very
The
high-end.
most high-end you can get.
You can get, yeah. And he shows up, okay? Now, this is when I realize he's got a little bit of douche stuff in him. And he comes in and he says, oh, hey, you could have bought that house. We sold it. You could have bought the house. Mm-hmm. I said, yeah. You could have gotten a couple $1 million more than what you sold it for. But my initial offer is what you sold it for, because Real Deal announced you sold it for $17 million.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then he walked away.
Oh, weird.
So I don't know who this guy is. I've been around the block when you're around different guys that have certain energy that they give that's just annoying. Maybe he's just annoying is what he is, and super arrogant. I don't know. I've been around guys like that they're competitive, they're good at what they do. And in the real estate world, real estate attracts people like this who do very well. Mm-hmm. In regards to the 30 rape allegations and all that stuff, this is how much I know about it. Yeah. Nothing, okay? I've never been around these guys outside of those 2 experiences that I had. And even when I walk around and I'm trying to buy a house or a property, I'll typically probe the individual to get to know who they are, what they're all about. Tell me about your family. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me where you're at. Tell me where you're from. What's your story? How did you guys do it? And I'm probing, right, to kind of get to know who they are. That is the only experience I've had with this guy. But the market's going to decide. Lawyers are going to decide what's going on. But 30's a valid number.
Yeah, and I remember all those conversations. I remember the negotiation in Boca. I remember, sending some text messages, kind of being a part of it. I'm actually grateful where you ended up buying the house. I think you're very happy with the decision. I think that's all that. But this is, I think, a story of your past mistakes can haunt you. What do I mean? I had a conversation yesterday with a very credible source who is very close with these guys, and I would consider myself very close with as well. He said, I could tell you in the last 10 years, I've seen none of this behavior. What's the reality? These days, there's 3 brothers that are involved in this. 2 are twins and 2 are in real estate. 1 is actually in security. They're all married. One of them has kids. They've all been married since COVID. They made a ton of money since COVID. They're living, I believe, all in Miami at this point. But a lot of their reputation is big ego, narcissist, sort of being douchey. I get that. But just because people don't like you don't get along with them, doesn't mean that these allegations
of course.
remain true. And that's not what you said at all, PBD. I'm just saying, I'm distinguishing between the two. Well, what I've understood is that a lot of these stories stem from this sex party situation at this guy's Sir Ivan's house, mansion, castle in the Hamptons. So he's going to have some explaining to do. I think they've already subpoenaed him. Well, we don't know what happened, but these allegations are.
Well, Pat, I showed you, and Pat already saw this story. Since we're on famous people and rape, the Alki David, the heir to Coca-Cola, Greek billionaire. Guess how much he has to pay this Jane Doe? The jury just said $900 million for allegedly harassing and raping a girl over a 3-year period. $900 million. I mean, dude, rape, horrible. He'll pay for it if he doesn't atone to God. But that is the biggest assault verdict in the basically just say $1 billion for raping someone.
I don't even think he's worth $1 billion. I know. He's got money. Don't get me wrong.
But is that not like? I thought I was reading it wrong. But a $900 million. Apparently, The Greek billionaire have to pay the woman identified as Jane Doe in a lawsuit a whopping $900 million for allegedly harassing and raping her over a 3-year period. It's so despicable. The facts in this case: he raped my client while on trial in another case. Gary Dordick told the Los Angeles Times. That's all he's worth right there. It's a 2 point. What was it, Rob? 2.3.
I just saw one that's at 50 million, one that's at 1.9, 1.1.
So PBD, when they say he's the heir and hologram, like what is his? When they say
he had
heir,
the Tupac, hologram. I believe.
Oh, that was him.
This is the guy that had the Tupac hologram, if I'm not mistaken.
Got you.
Well,
And he was married to a girl named Jennifer Stanos. Jennifer something.
But you're right. He's Hologram USA is the company, and she was a model for several of his companies.
I think one last thing I'll add is, there's allegations, then there's court decisions, and there's what turns out to be true.
Yeah.
Even there's another story in the right here. Matt Gaetz, they're coming after him for sex and drug allegations. And I don't know what happened there, and I'm not insinuating anything that has nothing to do with these stories.
Yeah.
But these stories, if you do stupid shit, things can come out.
By the way, here's a part though.
Yeah.
Here's a part that matters. Okay, one night, me and my friends in LA, I had just gone out of the army. I'm 21 years old. We go to this one party, and a lot of the guys that we used to spend time with, a lot of gangsters and people like that were over there, and I'm like, listen, guys. Moving forward, I can't come to these parties. You can't invite me to these types of parties. I'm not coming to these types of parties anymore. And it was me and 3 other guys outside. I can tell you all their names.
Yeah,
And if they see this, they'll remember. One of them is dead. The other 2 are still here with us. Sure. And one of them says, whom I love. I just had a conversation with this guy 3 weeks ago. I was like, Pat, what are you talking about, man? We're just regular guys. We're just hanging out. I'm like, nah, I can't do this. So the point is, sometimes you have to be careful how deep you go into with certain friends that you're hanging out with. If I'm friends with Tom and Tom's friends with another guy who has a rep for doing stuff that's super, super problematic, and I'm hanging out with him, and so he's there as well, you just have to be careful. You have to truly pick your friends in a very intentional way, especially as you age. I'm at a page right now that I'm picking friends based on who I want to be around my kids and how they speak and what language they freely use and all this other stuff, let alone when you're in your 20s. You have to pick friends for a complete different reason that you're comfortable with them being around you, because how they could directly or indirectly impact you. Remember what Suge Knight said about Diddy. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll never forget what Suge Knight said about Diddy. He said, Diddy wasn't born wanting to do this stuff to boys.
Exactly.
Someone taught him.
Yep.
And who's the name he gave?
Clive Davis?
Clive Davis.
Oh, get out of
here. He says Clive taught him.
Was it Clive or what was it? Wait, I don't want to mess up the name. What was his name?
You can go pull up who he said.
What was his name?
Right?
I think I messed this up once.
I don't think you did.
I'm going to make sure it's Clive.
No, he said Clive Davis.
Yeah, you're right. It was Clive Davis.
He said Clive Davis.
I said the actor one.
Yeah,
and people got really
Clive
mad.
Davis. He says, you're taught. So these guys doing what they're doing, if they did, they were taught. Who did they learn it from? Is it hanging out with that guy? Maybe. And, there are certain things that are cool and all this stuff while you're going through it. Try to get this kind of cool stuff out of your system as quickly as possible because, it can totally destroy your life. One of my favorite holidays of the year is around the corner, 4th of July. And we've been working on this merch drop for a while. A lot of you have been asking about, Pat, I want a USA flag. I want an American flag. I want something with Valuetainment that's the American flag to represent for 4th of July. And at the same time, I want there to say Future Looks Bright. I want it to be VT gear. Can we get some? So today, we're giving it to you to purchase so you can wear this gear during 4th of July, which is, a week and a half away. So if you order, these are limited supplies. So let me tell you what we got here. We got this Valuetainment hat with the American flag and Future Looks Bright on the side, which is here for you to order. We got this other one, the navy blue, with the red Valuetainment logo, Future Looks Bright, and American flag on the side. And this is so far right now Vinny's favorite. This is Chris's favorite, and this is Tom's favorite. For golfers, Tom likes this one. But this one right here says USA. This is, I think it's a USA for those who love America flag on the side. Future Looks Bright here. And then we got these shirts here as well. Okay, if you look at the screen there with the material, you got to feel the material, incredible material. Valuetainment with the U.S. flag. If you're somebody that loves America and you love Valuetainment, you love the representation that we have on what we talk about, and you want to walk around, because nowadays people are stopping each other. People are stopping each other, say, you're a valuetainer, I'm also a valuetainer, I watch this, I watch that. And you're kind of finding, it's almost like you know what it's like? You know how back in the days, there were certain tattoos people had to be able to know you're also part of that community. I am as well. There's certain gangs and communities that had this for a long time. This is one way where you see somebody with a Valuetainment hat, you don't have to say anything to the other person. You know what they stand for, and they know what you stand for. And it's a very unique connection that takes place. And I get these DMs all the time, and Manex all the time, and messages all the time. So, limited supply. The last time we did the green hat, people are like, oh, it's not going to sell out, sold out within 90 minutes. This is limited supply. So go place your order. That's the QR code, vtmerch.com. Again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order for 4th of July gear. Now, anybody places an order over 300, I think we have 10 more seats left to be with us to watch the debate on June 27th. So place an order over 300. You'll be invited to be with us and a friend at our club, 5990 Live Cigars, conversations, all that stuff. We'll watch a debate June 27th. I think it's going to be from 8:30 to like 11 o'clock at night. We'll be together.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.